Hi everyone, a very good evening to all of you and welcome to this session. Please let me know if I'm properly audible and visible to all of you. Are we good to go? Thank you. Good evening. For those watching me for the first time, my name is Niharika John Mehra. I am your faculty of English here on CGB Mentors. My classes are daily scheduled on this channel. 8 p.m. is our time as of now, Monday to Saturday for editorials, and this is where we do uh, like the most important thing of the day in our class, that is to cover everything in a short span of time. I do have some practice classes going on, like for EPFO, my is at 1:30, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And on other 3 days, I have classes on other channel, CGB IBPS Hub. This is a sister channel, and the classes at 1:30 over there are for our foundation classes, foundation practice classes. You can call it that. So, in this session, what all we are going to cover? We are going to first of all learn and practice skimming. We are going to go ahead with vocabulary. It's always good to keep our vocabulary up to date. So, अगर आपको words आते हैं, there's no harm in revising them, or maybe you will get a new contextual meaning of the word which you already know. Grammar practice, we are gonna have some random rules from the passage that we would observe and learn, and some MCQs. Always good to keep our brain sharp, है ना? जैसे एक नाइफ को शार्प रखने के लिए उसकी धार करनी पड़ती है. No matter how great it was working when you first bought it, but over a period of time it requires some kind of sharpening to stay in the very state it was meant to be. Similarly, it's for your brain also. Okay, we just want a regularity, we want a consistency with respect to English if you want to do good at your exam, right? So, this is the article taken from the Hindu editorial, something different from what we have been seeing, reading, and this is about the Nipah virus. So, skimming करनी है आपको. Again, I would like to give example of any advertisement जो आपने किसी billboard पर देखे हो. Maybe you are traveling and you saw something, you quickly read the major highlighted things. So your brain is trained that way, right? Same way you have to train your brain here to try and focus only on important words and try and understand the main message of an article. We won't have leisure time in exam. So we need to practice this skill long before we actually take the exam. Okay. तो आपको 2.5 minutes मिलेगा. This is today's article. Go ahead, give it a quick read, and then skimming में आपको नाम वगैरह ज़्यादा नहीं पढ़ने हैं, obsess नहीं होना है उससे. Do not translate, don't lip sync. You just have to make sure कि आपको main मुद्दा क्या है, main message समझ में आए. After 2.5 minutes, you need to give me 1 or 2 line summary of the passage here, that what you have understood. Also, make sure to like and share the session. Please give it a good read. Okay, so here is your passage. Please let me know in a line or two what you have understood. Okay. So this is greater regularity on the Nipah virus. Okay, why do we need greater regularity? Genetic sequences of Nipah virus must be shared in public databases quickly. We need to know more about the genetic sequences of this virus, and that's why author is urging. There is a sense of urge here कि उसको share करो public database में, and that too quickly. So why is this whole thing happening? Why out of nowhere author has mentioned this? Of course, reason is explained in the article, in the passage. The case of a 42-year-old woman in Kerala testing positive for Nipah virus on May 8 makes it the third such instance being reported from the state's Malappuram district in the last 2 years. So last 2 years में ये third incidence है. The earlier cases were detected last year. So last year we saw the cases before this one. That was in a 14-year-old boy. That was on July 21, and 24-year-old adult on 15th of September. So this is the past event. We get to see what happened and when it happened. With the latest detection of Nipah in the state, Kerala has recorded 2 outbreaks. That was in the years 18 and 23, involving human to human transmission. That means a contagious hai, and 4 spillovers in the years 2019 and 21. Spillovers are the after effects of something. Okay, transmission वाले जो हैं हुए तो हुए, और उसके बाद ट्रांसमिशन कब तक चला. तो स्पिल ओवर्स 2019 2021 में भी देखने को मिला, एंड 2 इवेंट्स इन 2024, 23 के बाद 24 में, एंड 2018 के बाद 19 और 21 में भी. In the May 18 event, even though only one person tested positive for Nipah and 7 close contacts tested negative, now this is something very different happened. One tested positive, but उसके जो 7 close contacts थे वो negative थे. It is a bit early to call it a spillover. अभी हम इसको spillover effect नहीं बोल सकते. It's early to come to any kind of conclusion. Unlike an outbreak, okay guys, outbreak is something जो कि epidemic होता है. हमने ये word बहुत सुना और समझा है, but still for newcomers, any outbreak is something that is spreading very very quickly, and उसे हम outbreak बोलते, breakout नहीं बोलते हैं. Okay, this eruption of something. So, unlike an outbreak, Nipah spillovers are restricted to a single case with no human to human transmission. तो निपा के स्पिल ओवर्स जो हैं, ओके, जो उसका एक प्रकार से ट्रांसमिशन होता है, दैट इज स्ट्रिक्टेड टू, इट इज लिमिटेड टू अ सिंगल केस, एंड उसमें ह्यूमन टू ह्यूमन ट्रांसमिशन नहीं है. One reason for the absence of human spread is the timely detection of the case and isolation of the patient. So one of the reasons why there is no human to human transmission, because of the timely detection, टाइम पे जो समझ पाते हैं डॉक्टर्स, एंड आइसोलेशन, ऑफ कोर्स यू ऑल अंडरस्टैंड दैट. द अदर रीजन इज द क्लिनिकल प्रेजेंटेशन. So another reason is clinical presentation, what all we know about it. So in the case of Nipah virus spillovers, patients who tested positive for the virus had presented with AES, okay, some kind of syndrome. While in Nipah outbreaks in 1823, the index case and at least a few other people had presented with ARDS, that is acute respiratory distress syndrome. So these are two different syndromes, okay. So this is something we need to make sure we have in our mind. It was not the same one. Compared with AES, patients with ARDS present with relatively severe condition. So those जिनको निपा की वजह से ARDS हुआ, they showed severe conditions with lung involvement. Besides cough, patients representing ARDS have higher viral loads. तो इसके अलावा जो है they go with all kind of viral infection के जो symptoms होते हैं, which serve as a surrogate for disease severity. As a surrogate means disease की severity वहाँ increase होती है. It gives the favor. It is like a substitute for the disease severity, where it is helping the disease to spread even more. Immaterial of whether blood, urine, or cerebrospinal fluid samples test positive or not. So यहाँ पे हम जो देख रहे हैं, we are seeing that irrespective of the fact कि वहाँ पे वो होता है कि नहीं, throat swab samples generally test positive if a person is infected by Nipah. So throat swab जो होता है, swab वाले samples generally वो positive आते हैं अगर Nipah है, which again serve as an indicator of human spread in the case of patients with ARDS. But when this happens, this kind of test is positive, it is a sign, an indicator कि human to human spread हो सकता है. The high viral load, the presence of virus in the throat and the tendency to cough make human spread possible. कोई भी चीज़ coughing से फैलती है, we all know that. Greater disease severity in ARDS cases is also the reason of Nipah deaths. Now author is talking about again the severity, what happened. So greater severity in ARDS, the syndrome because of Nipah, this has caused number of deaths in 2018-23 in the past years. There were 17 deaths from 18 cases and 2 deaths from 6 cases in 2023 outbreak. So a study by ICMR Pune found out, अभी आपको ना पूरा नाम नहीं पढ़ना है, वायरोलॉजी का स्टडी था एक by this institute. You don't have to get into the name and waste time there. Found that 2018 virus had small genetic variation. 18 वाला genetic variation छोटा था from Bangladesh strain and was able to cause multi-systemic disease in a Syrian hamster model resembling human infection. Okay, तो उसकी study जो बताती है genetic variation उतना था नहीं. But now we can see there are different things again. The Nipah virus is capable of causing different clinical presentation. अलग अलग clinical studies अगर करे जाए तो उसकी अलग अलग चीज़ें हमें मिलेगी and is endowed with ability to cause human spread in some cases. So actually when somebody is endowed with something, वो gifted होता है. यहाँ पे sarcastic way में author बोल रहा है that it has a capacity to spread human to human. This makes a strong case for a quick and thorough genetic study of virus in humans and bats. So that's why author is saying, because there is a lot of variation and we can see how different cases were in the past. It's important to go through a genetic study, a thorough one, and this is what will help us prepare. With Nipah cases now a very regular occurrence in Kerala, the consumption of routinely study fruit bats. The compulsion to routinely study these bats, which are natural hosts for Nipah, cannot be overemphasized. ये भी bats से हुआ था, okay? Oh, this is like a sore topic. So this is a need of the hour, what author says, कि इनको bats को पढ़ो. That even the 18 virus showed a small genetic difference from Bangladesh strain. वहाँ का जो strain था उससे मिलता जुलता नहीं था, काफी कुछ जो था difference कम ही था. Makes it even more important to know whether the virus causing spillovers without human spread has evolved further. We need to know that the spillovers transmission हो कैसे रहा है without human to human transmission. So how it is going ahead, वो चीज देखने के लिए we need to study further. Such studies can be done by more scientists only when the genetic sequences are shared in public database without any delay. So even if we want to study this, we want more of the data that is of genetic sequence, and this can be done only if they are shared on such places where it's accessible to everyone who is interested in studying. तो यहाँ पे वो स्ट्रेन्स को स्टडी करने के लिए ऑथर चाह रहा है, डिमांड कर रहा है इन अ वे. ओके, so I'll take you to the vocabulary section and then I'll get you to the grammar question section. Spillover is transmission event. Okay, फैलाव कैसा हो रहा है. ओके, आइसोलेटेड केस अगर है, स्पिल ओवर है, तो उसे अभी हमने समझा. आउटब्रेक इज एपिडेमिक इरप्शन, सडनली फूटना किसी चीज का कि वो फैल जाए. ओके, इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड हिंदी. नाउ एनसेफेलाइटिस इज मस्तिष्क में सूजन, ब्रेन इन्फ्लेमेशन. सो दिस टर्म इज नॉट ऑफन यूज बट यू मस्ट नो द मीनिंग. इससे ज्यादा इसको याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है. ARDS is severe lung failure which is respiratory. So anytime आपको respiratory word दिखता है, respiratory distress है, acute है या कैसा भी है, it is related to functioning of lungs. आपको ये समझने की ज़रूरत है बस. Surrogate is a substitute of proxy. So कोई किसी का surrogate होता है तो उसकी जगह grow करने का काम, बढ़ाने का काम कोई और कर रहा होता है. So that's the meaning of surrogate. मल्टीसिस्टेमिक इज मल्टीपल ऑर्गन्स को इन्वॉल्व करने वाला, मल्टीपल सिस्टम्स को इन्वॉल्व करने वाला. कंपल्शन इज अ नेसेसिटी. नाउ इट्स अ नाउन. यन में एंड हो रहा है तो नाउन है. एंडोड विद इज अ फ्रेज दैट मीन्स इक्विप्ड विद. ओके, इसका ज्यादातर यूज एक पॉजिटिव तरीके से होता है. ओके, ही वॉज एंडोड विद स्किल्स ऑफ शार्प शूटिंग. तो वहां पे गिफ्टेड विद किसी गुण से भरपूर होना, इसको उस सेंस में यूज करते हैं. एनीथिंग विच इज इमटेरियल इज इनसिग्निफिकेंट. ओके, इट्स नॉट वेरी प्रेशियस, इट्स नॉट समथिंग वर्थ सेविंग. महत्वहीन होती है या फिर रेलेवेंट ही नहीं होती है. ओके, सेरेब्रोस्पाइनल फ्लूइड इज न्यूरल फ्लूइड, न्यूरॉन्स जो हमारे अंदर होते हैं. तो कुछ टर्म्स यहाँ पे मेडिकल टर्म्स जो यूज करी गई हैं, ऑफ कोर्स यू डोंट नीड टू लर्न देम बट हैविंग अ गुड अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ देम. एंड इफ यू आर द वन जो कि ऐसे किसी टॉपिक पे, हेल्थ केयर के टॉपिक पे कुछ लिखना चाह रहे हो, ऐसे और समथिंग, यू कैन यूज दिस टर्म्स. ओके, दैट विल मेक यू साउंड स्मार्ट. इतनी कोई भारी भरकम टर्म्स नहीं है वो, एटलीस्ट कंपेयर टू व्हाट मेडिकोज लर्न. सो नाउ इट्स माय टर्न टू आस्क सम क्वेश्चंस. चलो, first question, you need to tell me subject and verb agreement of the first sentence that I have marked. Surrogate meaning is proxy. I'll first answer this and by that time I'll give you example of. Okay. Come on, guys. Yeah. Yeah. Hello. The case. Now, case is the first noun of the sentence. Bingo, that's my subject. The case of whosoever, wheresoever doesn't matter, the date doesn't matter. This case makes it the third one. So यहाँ पे makes इसका verb है. Yes, you got it right. Now you asked me meaning of surrogate. Surrogate as a noun means, of course, surrogate mother wala hota hai, that womb is inherited of a woman and the baby someone else. That is the noun meaning. The verb meaning, of course, what we learned here, to substitute one thing. So you can say that some electronic models are surrogated for XYZ use. So we are substituting some models with something else for the use of some third thing or some specific reason. तो आप surrogate as a verb को बहुत कम use करते हो. It means like on behalf of something or someone, there is another thing taking place and acting out. Okay. Next question. Part of speech of this word. The article, case, noun, pre article, 2-year old. Saurav, is this the summary you wanted to write here? Sorry, I'm unable to understand your comment. This one is a verb, okay? So whenever you have even though, any conjunction, to know that you have most of the times you are gonna get two clauses. So even though के बाद का जो sentence है, one person, इसका ये subject है और ये verb है, very simple है ना? चलो आगे के questions देखते हैं. Subject and verb of this sentence. Come on, guys, quick. So the sentence here is starting with something other than a noun or a pronoun. Okay, that is compared with. This is your starter part. That means इसमें आपको subject नहीं मिलेगा. Patients with ARDS. Now this is the first noun we encounter which is plural. That's why present is in simple present tense, your verb here, which is in agreement with a plural noun. Patients present. Patients with whatever disease is not my concern for subject verb agreement at this point. Okay. So patient subject है, उसका respective word present था यहाँ पे. The sentence is in simple present tense. Okay. Okay. Next question. Part of speech. The maximum questions we get in exam, comparatively, I would say, not maximum, but comparatively, they are on different types of subject verb agreement. That's the first thing you should test, you should check, in fact, for your questions, जो कि आपके error detection में आते हैं. See, the Nipah virus is capable of. So capable of what? What आ गया ना question में? That means इसका answer noun है. And if it is not a noun, then it is a gerund. So in this case, we are using a gerund. Causing is a gerund over here. Capable of what? Capable of causing. A word, a simple word, can belong to more than one part of speech. You should know that. I have taught this thing again and again. There are words which look like a verb, but they are also found in noun family, or a noun also uses adjective sometimes. You need to be very, very clear how it is used in the sentence. So this one is a gerund over here. Okay. Okay. Last question from this one, and then we will move to some other questions. Subject and verb of the sentence I have marked right now. Try to be little quick, guys. Okay, so at this time the sentence starts with a preposition. So with Nipah cases now a very regular occurrence in Kerala. So with cases now very common. ये तो with का with के आगे का fragment हो गया. The compulsion to routinely study fruit bats. The compulsion to study something. Compulsion is your noun. Now this one about bats we are getting more detail, which are natural hosts for Nipah. तो यहाँ तक हट गया. Compulsion cannot be overemphasized. Okay. Compulsion is the main noun. Cannot be overemphasized is the verb part. Modal verb का use यहाँ पर हुआ है. Okay. So you need to check every time in sentence how a subject is acting. It's not always going to be right there in the beginning or so. So start understanding things that way. So summary, the recent Nipah virus case in Kerala highlights a concerning pattern of recurring infections in the same region with varying clinical manifestation. Some led to or some excuse me leading to severe disease and some human to human transmission. The editorial stresses here on the importance of distinguishing between outbreaks and spillovers. So for that we need to base it on clinical features like which syndrome actually is found in the patient. Given the virus involving nature and potential for human transmission, it is not always transmitted human to human, but there is a potential. The editorial is asking us to be more aggressive about the surveillance, to study more. That's why he's asking for public sharing of genetic sequence data to facilitate broader study, scientific study, so that we can prevent the future outbreaks, which is important. So 2 3 key points were there. The first part was about the recent case. The second part was about how complicated this disease is, because it could be human to human, it could not be at the same point in some cases. And third thing was we need to study the virus more. Okay. So the tone here is urgent because he has stressed upon what we must do, scientific, which we can see clearly, all the medical terms used here, and cautionary. So it's like a caution that we should be aware of the ongoing thing over here with respect to this disease. Let's do some MCQs. Answer to this one is B. So, what differentiates a spillover from Nipah outbreak according to the editorial? It is the presence of human to human transmission. Okay. Okay, answer to this one is C. What key factor makes ARDS cases more likely to cause human transmission? Because lung involvement and coughing is found over there. Okay. Question number 3. The answer to this one is also C. According to the editorial, the best indicator for determining patient's capacity is positive throat swab with high viral load. Okay, so because other kind of urine, blood sample and all can come up to be negative. That's why author has stressed upon the throat swab. This part of a session is the exercise for you people to enhance your memory game. Yeah, you need to make sure that some things by default are settling in your mind as you just give it one or two read. Again, see what is implied by the editorial regarding evolution of the virus. It may have developed variations that need genetic mapping, and that's why he is urging the data to be shared publicly. Answer to this one is B. Why does editorial emphasize sharing genetic sequence? It is to allow wider research and early intervention. So it was even something logically you would have answered. Error detection, question number 1. Number one, the answer here is D, were. The 2023 outbreak involved multiple patients with ARDS. Patients, all of whom had severe symptoms. Now, what is the subject here of what is happening? It's patients now. Patients were treated with intensive care. अगर आप आगे का पढ़ोगे, you will realize if there is someone X treated with intensive care, it's gonna be patients. That is plural. So why was this used anyways? Question. Unlike AES, this is singular, which often presents less severely. Presents how? Less severely. सही है. ARDS infected individuals are more contagious. So we have proper adjective, verb agreement is there. Owing to what? Owing to is a phrase. So owing to something, someone's name, now you need a noun. If there is no noun, then you can use a gerund. Okay. So owing to what? Owing to coughing and owing to viral load, that is higher viral load, which contributes अपने साथ to लेकर चलता है, not for that we are going to use. Contributes to what? Contributes to easier human transmission. So some fixed prepositions, some phrases you ought to know, and don't worry, as you take classes regularly you are gonna get good hold of it. So we read this immaterial of in the article. Guys, many a time you will see this thing happening with respect to editorials and all, that people use fancy editorials are the ones where you will see some kind of informal language, but for exam that doesn't work. So immaterial of is not the phrase that I can use in my exam. Okay, it's just something colloquially used. So irrespective of should come here. Whether a sample tests, sample का subject verb agreement यहाँ पे देख रहे हैं, test positive. Throat swabs remain what? The most reliable indicator of what? Infection, and can help in what? Assessing potential for outbreaks. Irrespective of should come, immaterial of should not come. We have to use standard English phrases, standard English vocabulary rules for our exams. We cannot, even for your essay writing and all, we have to keep it formal. Hmm. So the answer here, shouldn't there be severely? I will do that. I will explain that. Okay. So let's get back to this fourth question. To be shared आना था. Answer is B here. The editorial calls for, demands genetic sequences of all spillover cases being shared immediately. To be shared immediately, because it's a demand, something to be done. So to be, and then you will use shared. That's the right syntax to be used here, and वो वहाँ का error था. Now somebody has asked a question here. Severely क्यों वहाँ पर सही है second question में? Okay. So I will explain you what is wrong with what is not wrong with the word severely. The unlike AES which presents अपने, see, it is not a person presenting something. Okay. So less severity होता तो गलत नहीं होता, लेकिन severity as an adjective, as an adverb explaining how AES is presenting itself is not wrong. Okay. AES, the syndrome which often presents, अपने आप को show करता है या होता है. This is not presenting what we get to see. Okay. Something happened with my feed. So Shashank, yeah. So how it presents itself? Less severely. There is adverb less explaining another adverb. So because this is not wrong, we can go ahead with this one. Last question. The fruit bat, while long known as Nipah host, has not been studied adequately despite what its prevalence in Nipah prone regions. It's not a single region. अगर एक ही होता तो in a or in the region होता. But here since something is said in a very generic manner, यहाँ regions होना था. Okay, that's what we have. ठीक है? So we are done here, and that's it. Thank you so much all of you for attending the session. Please make sure to like, share and subscribe if you are new here. We have classes Monday to Saturday 8 p.m. especially editorial classes are going on. So you're most welcome in the classes. Okay, take care. Bye.